the views. Today, we're going to be talking about the changing roles of the people. First, we're going to start off with marriage. Brooke, what do you have for us about marriage?
Well, prior to 1750, Christian, actually, people really couldn't marry until they could support themselves economically. And local governments regulated marriage just so that the peasant class wouldn't get too out of control and they wouldn't have to, there weren't as many people getting help from the government, a welfare type deal. And so, yeah, we actually do have a clip to show you about that, about marriage back, in the 1750s. So why don't we take a look?
Can we get married?
Psych! Got too close on your It took long enough. Sorry. Oh!
Apparently, religion was a big factor back in the 18th century. Well, we have a special guest here to talk about religion. So, Brandon, would you come on out here?
Christianity was actually a very big thing in the 18th century. They did this throughout their daily life, through things like prayer, worship, just routines. And you see, the Christians back then believed in practical power, and I actually brought a clip to show this.
Your hands, children. We're going to pray.
Clyde doesn't hold hands.
Give me your hand. Dear precious 6-pound, 8-ounce baby Jesus.
In the 1750s, the treatment of children wasn't exactly where it should have been. Brooke, can you give us some facts on this?
I can. They definitely weren't. It wasn't where they should have been. But the birth rate out of wedlock was fairly low, since that wasn't encouraged. And the infant mortality rate was actually severely high, since, infants, their immune system isn't as strong as ours. And but Christian, don't you have some more information on how children were treated, after 1750?
Yeah. After 1750, children were just viewed as another mouth to feed, and they weren't viewed as like a normal human being. Well, overland occurred, which is when a parent rolls on top of their child and suffocates them to death. Well, after that, children were severely disciplined, and they were basically forced to work in factories, at a very young age.
And after this commercial break, we'll be discussing working in the home.
Boy, wife, why aren't you making any clothes today? Hey, Mike, come say her jingle. She's got the scurvy again.
If you've got the scurvy and you're not feeling curvy, then just eat up lime.
Hey. There we go.
Eat limes.
Ironically, one of our co-hosts, Irene, got the scurvy over the commercial break. So our guest star, Courtney, is going to be discussing working in the home.
Thanks, Brandon. I'm glad to be here. Many young people worked within their families until they could start their own and build their own household. Many boys worked away from home, and they usually plowed or they wove. And girls worked away as well, but usually at an earlier age. And they would spin, thread, or tend to their animals.
After this last commercial break, during this last commercial break, we're going to be checking on our buddy Irene. See you in a hot minute.
So what are we having for dinner tonight?
What do we have every other night? Bread. There you go.
Bread was really good that we have for dinner.
Got milk?
Now Christian is going to be discussing education during the 18th century.
Yes. Prior to the 18th century, children were allowed to go to school, so they were homeschooled, and during their homeschooling, they were very disciplined. And then Brooke has after.
Yes, during the 18th century, they were sciences were taught, more. They were becoming more refined, but it's still also very disciplined. And we have a clip of education just to show you what it's all about. So.
What's 1 times 1? Yes.
2.
Claude, get him. Where's the 3 states of matter?
Solid, liquid, and gas.
Start grass and air.
He's right.
Let's go. No.
Hi, we're here with this lovely married couple to discuss about how his lovely wife's role has changed in the household. And I know that you guys were married prior to the 1750s and married through the 1750s and after that. So how did her role change in the household as your marriage progressed?
Well, it started off as more of an economic arrangement, but As we were married for a longer time period, it was more than that.
Not as much smacking around.
There was a
I
lot
should say.
less domestic violence in the household as the laws changed throughout the 1750s.
Alright. Well, I'm glad that her role changed thoroughly throughout the household.